Hello, lovelies. It is a spring cleaning day. Hey! So I've got dinner ready and sorted. I wish I could say that spring cleaning was something that I just would start jumping into straight away. However, I still have to do the ordinary stuff that keeps the house running whilst doing the spring clean on top. So all the other stuff I have sorted out. So for my spring cleaning principles are basically, I always start off with the smallest space that I can get done so that I can get that satisfaction and build up momentum. I never ever start with the bigger spaces because those ones, it can just be so demotivating to realize that it needs more than one day. So say, for example, the kitchen needs about 2.5 days in total to properly spring clean it because I have to clean out all of the cupboards. So the smallest space in my home is the cloakroom toilet. So that's the one that I'm going to start off with for today, just to get things going. I've got all of my equipment ready, and so we're going to get into it.
This small toilet room is next to the laundry room, and it is really a very small space that we converted into the downstairs toilet because we are a family of 7, and so it felt like it would be a good idea for us to have a separate toilet area to the family bathroom. It is downstairs, and it's, as I said, it is very small. The first thing that I like to do is just to basically remove as much as I can from any of the countertops and the shelves, of which we only have the one shelf in here, as well as the windowsill, which I use for some displays. I'll use my microfiber feather duster to just dust everything down, and the light fitting gets a really good wipe down and a clean with a damp cloth. For the walls, there are just plenty of little dots of stuff that I have no idea where they came from. And some of them were pen writings on the wall, which really the kids ought to know better. But I use these Dr. Magic, I think they're called Magic Eraser Pads, and they are just brilliant. They help to remove the marks on the walls. You have to be a bit careful though. If you use too much force, you end up removing all of the paint. But I use these when I do a spring clean because it's a bit of a cheat to not have to paint over stuff, because that would be the other option, would be to paint over things. The magic pads are also great for, you know, the marks that you get when you've used blue tack to stick up anything. They will quite successfully remove that. And I found that the magic pads, they work quite well on painted walls and even say on door frames and window frames. So I just went round the whole walls that I had dusted down, because this room is adjacent from where the dryer, and so a lot of lint dust always ends up getting into this room, as you'll see later on when I get to cleaning the ventilation air vent thing in there. So once I've done that, I also like to wipe down the walls with just a damp microfiber cloth and just give it a really good freshening up, which is really awesome. So the vent just has a lot of lint in it because, as I said, it's adjacent to where the dryer is. So I like to use my toothbrush as well as the vacuum cleaner with the brush attachment, and that got it really nice and clean. And then the next thing to tackle was the window, which, using basically a soaking rag, I gave it a really thorough wipe down, and then I'm just using a window cleaner to clean the glass panes, and I use a chamois cloth that I use for doing mirrors and glass. Now, Christmas 4 years ago, my kids were given these foam stickers and they decided to decorate this mirror with these foam stickers. And it's taken me 3 years to get the line of stickers off, and this one was a really stubborn one. And then I realized that I could use the razor blade tool that I have for cleaning the induction hob, which did a great job of finally removing the last sticker that was just refusing to come off. So I really like this little razor blade tool that I've used for the induction hob, and it's also really great for removing stubborn things that are stuck onto the mirror as well. I must say, I found cleaning this mirror so very satisfying because this is the first time in nearly 3 or 4 years now that I've been able to clean it properly where it doesn't have the spongy stickers. Needless to say, those stickers have been banned in my household. So underneath the mirror, I also noticed that there were quite a lot of water stains and just a lot of mucks from usage and the kids. And so I used the magic eraser just to give it a bit of a clean, and it just looked really nice and clean. So as you can see here, my philosophy basically is just following on from what I've learned from Fly Lady and from various other cleaning systems that always say when you're doing a thorough deep clean of a space, start from the top, from the ceiling going down. So I'm just going down levels. But of course, the laundry has to keep going. Just because it's spring clean doesn't mean the laundry cycle stops. And at this point, I had to stop and go and fold some clothes. I couldn't actually do the folding in the laundry room because I was using the laundry room as the overflow for all the things that I was taking out of the downstairs toilet. And as you can see, that's the countertop taken over by all the stuff from the toilet. So for the toilet bowl, I'm just putting in this Dr. Beckman's foaming cleaner, which is really brilliant. And whilst that's doing its thing, I've started on the floor around, behind, and next to the toilet itself. As you can see, it is a very small space. I'm just using the toothbrush there to get into those finer little cracks that are just between the floor and the cistern. And then I'm using my microfiber cloth with just some washing up liquid to wipe down the cistern. And I'll use the toothbrush again for the hinges that connect the toilet seat. Ideally, I'd take off the toilet seat and give it a thorough cleaning, but I didn't have access to the wrenches that you need to do that with. So I thought on this time around, I'm going to skip that. And the skirting boards and that area behind the toilet gets a thorough, like a proper soapy wash down that it doesn't normally get during the routine day-to-day stuff. The routine day-to-day stuff includes the swish and swipe, according to Fly Lady, which is a super quick cleaning of the toilet bowl every single day. And I do that every morning between my shower and when I've come downstairs and before I go into the kitchen. So I have a very small storage area underneath the sink, which was just really dirty. It had a lot of cobwebs, frankly speaking, but I managed to clean all of that out, give it a wipe down, and I wiped down everything that was in it because it had a fine layer of dust, and I put those back in there, and that was ready to go. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm giving the drains a really good clean because they can get smelly, and I'm using this drain unblocker, which I will leave to sit in there before I flush it down with some boiling water. So now my favorite part actually of doing a spring clean is where I can work on the plants. I have a collection of succulents that I absolutely love. I've had this for several years and I've been adding to them slowly over the years. So I basically take them out and I give everything a wash, so to speak. Apologies, my camera was being really funny on my phone, so it does seem a little bit choppy towards the end, but that's an issue that I'm trying to sort out. I give the succulents a rain bath once a year. And I don't know, I think that they really like it. They always seem to be a lot happier afterwards, but I have to be so careful with them. They don't like too much water, but I think once in a while they're okay with it because they are inhabitants of the desert, and the desert occasionally does get flash floods, so they sort of don't like that. And then I have a more spikier one here that I've actually been growing this from little babies, so I'm very happy with how much this has grown. I used to have loads more succulents, but I had to cull the collection because it just got to a point where it was too much. And so at the moment, these are the ones that I keep in the bathroom. And for me, the downstairs toilet, even though it's not as big as the family bathroom upstairs, I still like to create in it a sanctuary of peacefulness and privacy. And so I always like to make sure that I have some plants in there because I think the plants not only give it a very spa-like feel, but plants, particularly living house plants, they add such a wonderful energy to any room. They're very refreshing and they freshen everything up. Before, I had some city Lego constructions, and we've had those for several years, but they were quite dusty. They had accumulated dust on them, and I couldn't find a way to clean them without having to take them apart and clean them separately. So I've decided to remove them, and they're going to have to be dismantled and then cleaned and then put back together. And that's going to be a task for the children or my husband to do because they're the ones that originally did this. I'm personally not a big fan of Lego, so there we go. The faucets, I'm using some bicarbonate of soda with an old toothbrush to really get into there and try and refresh them as much as possible back to brand new status. And there it is, everything looking really sparkly, clean and shiny. Everything smells so good, and I just love spring cleaning because everything comes away looking so refreshed and so beautiful. And this was an easy room to start with, and I can build momentum on this as I move on to the next room in the spring cleaning this year. And now all I have to do is maintain it. There were some issues that I identified that need more of a DIY approach, such as some caulk that needs to be replaced and some spaces that need to be filled with some plastering, but I'll pass that on to my husband and he can do that stuff. But in the meantime, it's all looking good. Thank you so much for visiting with me as I start the spring cleaning this particular season, and I hope that you've enjoyed your time here. And until I see you next time, I wish you blue skies, health, and happiness. Bye.